Amigos, bienvenidos a la comunidad israelita en la ciudad de Guatemala.
Shalom friends, welcome to the Better community in the city of Guatemala. Today I will be translating to the English. My name is Deborah Barjana. Today we are in the Parasha of Mishpatim and it says judge. This type of commandment, Mishpatim, it's referred to the relationship, interpersonal relationships with our friends. Like the festivities and the hukim, that are commandments that the Torah doesn't say why we have to take. So it seems like it's narrating the 10 commandments that were in the Mount Sinai, and in the lecture of the Torah there's a change that it's really strong and drastic, and it's beginning to tell all these commandments that are a lot of them and that are in this Haftarah. And in this parasha, commandments that are too small but too specific, and sometimes we get lost in our comprehension. If we use our logic, accidental logic and modern, we will not understand. So if we keep on the liberty and the freedom, you can see that if in our Haftarah it's taught that Jeremiah about that the Eternal has decreed that they needed to let free all the servants that they had as slaves, so they took them free and they were slaves again. In some way, I recommend you that all the Better people in all around the world, they need to see the class of Comunidad. They need to see it. Some people has asked me that I need to amplify the theme, and if you have any questions, you can tell me about it, about the education in home. We have unconsciously we make slaves in our people. So it's announced that this freedom will be with sword. So to these Israeli people, that they don't left the people to free. To all the people that they were already free, they are going to be delivered to their enemies. So, this should be the most precious thing in the world. We shouldn't take this out. In our parasha, we have some texts that are really difficult to comprehend. Whoever strikes his father or mother will be irretrievably killed. What about if it's some cousin of ours, some beloved people? Who will be against the abuse of children? No one? So, what about when our father is the one who is abusing some children? Why we don't say anything about it? So, it's meant that we are cultivated emotionally, so we don't have any judge. So that's why we are not free. We cannot make the commandments. Because the interpersonal relationships, when they are not correctly or sane, we are So that's why we don't give the justice, because we don't see it, we don't know it.
es fugitiva.
It's fugitive.
No podemos hablar de
We
justicia
cannot
porque no hay
talk
modelo.
about justice because we don't have a model to follow
Para mí
up.
eso es lo más tremendo de la clase de luces
So
que
that's
platicábamos.
really strong about the class of Monday.
Cuando crecimos
When
en
we
un sistema
were born
religioso,
in a religious system,
a un sistema
you know what
de
I mean?
educación en el
In
hogar
a system of
religioso,
education that it's really religious. I'm not talking about Christianism or another God. I'm talking about a system that is dogmatic,
con el objetivo de
with the
tener el
objective
control
to have the
político
control
sobre
and
hijos y
domain
esposas.
of children and our wife or husband. Who is the God in the house? Father?
Crecimos en una
So
idolatría
we
de
were
tal grado
born in
que no
idolatry
importa el daño que papá
that
o mamá nos haya hecho,
we don't care that if someone makes some pain to us, we keep on making it to be. It doesn't matter if we make another bad things to someone. It's the representative of the eternal, so that's why we are justifying the things. The strong thing about this is that when we talk about our mother or father, we could think that we are talking bad about them. They are proud about me and I'm taking their word. I love them into the last day of life. I take care of them since my 23 years old. But the love to my parents doesn't make me a fool. I don't know if I can explain this. Doesn't cloud my view, my objectivity, my judgment. This is the problem. When a person cannot talk about something bad that his parents made in the education that they were taking, it's someone that is cultivated by this religious system. So, in the meantime that they don't talk about it, they will not be free. They are referring that these mistakes that our parents make with us, we don't have to have resentment with them. We need to talk about it to be free. The problem is that we don't have, how can I say it? We cannot distinguish between the light or night. We cannot do it. When we have a big and strong sentiment with the love, we are cultivated. We cannot talk about a freedom. We cannot talk about a plenty freedom. Our Toráh says, when anyone hurts his servant or his servant with the rod and dies under his hand, he will certainly be avenged. This is because he killed the servant, but if he survives a day or two, he will not be avenged, because he is his property. Wow. So, my servant, it's behaving too bad. He survived one day. If he dies at the third day, we are free of the assassin. These are concepts. These are principles that we don't understand, the Latino American, about this age. Because we grow up with not only in our home, in the school, we were in a religious system, where all were sons or sentinels. All is the same. We cannot comprehend why the Toráh is teaching us that we don't have all the same. We can see in our parasha that a father can sell his daughter to sustain the rest of the family, and this is a shock. In the logic, we cannot believe this in this age. because our values and our principles are not the same. We believe that everything is the same, and not everything is the same. When I talk with my friends, the way I talk with them, it's really different than if the way I talk to my wife or my daughter, or if I do it with my dad, because the relationship is really distinct. It's different, and that's the thing we cannot understand. Today we have neighbors that are married, and for me they are really young, about 30 years old, and when I saw them when his mother was when I was their age, if I treat them like so personal, they will hit me in the face because I was disrespecting them. I cannot say hi to them and I will go away. For me, it's a really disrespectful way to treat people. And they have 30 years old, so it's not the same. To all the old people, to all women, they need to say Mrs. and Mrs. And even if they say you need to treat me more personal, they cannot do this because I'm teaching them that they need to respect all people. And in our parasha, they don't need to make bad words to the people. How can we say that we are taking the commandments and the Torah if we don't make this distinguish with the relationships that are outside and inside the Torah? If we don't make this difference, we cannot comprehend the Torah and take it to practice. There will be a moment when this text will not be outside of us, they will be inside of us. Look at this next text. If some men quarrel and injure a pregnant woman and their children live without further harm, they will certainly be fined according to what the woman's husband imposes on them, and is imposed on them by the judge. But if there is a misfortune, then you will give life for life. We need to kill them. All the people are against the killing. That if in some way, if the woman loses the baby, there will not be a pain because it was in the fighting. If she loses the baby, there was no that disgrace. But if the woman dies, there is a disgrace. All the values that for what is life or not are all misunderstanding. So how can we promote a Torah that we cannot comprehend, and if we don't live it with this Torah? I'm not saying that I'm in favor of abortion people, but can you imagine in our parasha the baby dies, and it's really sad, but there was not a disgrace. Today we have people that it's crying because their dog died. Can you imagine that? Crying about this, and there's a cemetery about pets? How can we save the Torah if our values are not the same as the Torah? When someone asks to his neighbor for an animal, when a man asks his neighbor for an animal and it's injured or killed in the absence of his owner, he will certainly pay. If the owner is present, he will not pay. If he is rented, he will enter his rent. What the Torah says? If I will not let to my neighbor the pet, this will not have died. If something is rent, the rent covers the damage. So if we rent something, we are responsible that this will work correctly, and if it needs something, we need to cover everything. This is the law of the Torah. If we live in a house that is rented, the owner needs to make a maintenance, so this will not get lost. This is what it says in the Torah, and we are not living with these laws. We don't know what is justice. So we need to know what is justice. With everything that we learn about, we lost the perspective. In another text, whoever offers sacrifice to any god other than Yeshua will be completely destroyed. Here we have the liberty of any beliefs. We need to respect the beliefs of the other person. In which part of the Torah we take this? There doesn't exist anything in the Torah that says anything about this. So what can we do with the witcher? We need to kill them. It's a person, so we don't need to do this. So you can see a person that it's a human being, even if it's against the Torah. In which category will be the animal that is against of the nature of the eternal and the divine will? We need to kill them. This is what we are teaching them in the Torah. We don't live in a concept. We don't live in a legal concept that is with the Torah. What can we feel with the persons that practice something that is against the Torah? We feel love or not? So with the values and the principles. You will not let the sorcerer sleep. You shall not insult the judge, not curse the prince of your people. Even if he is outside the Torah. The corrupt people or not, it's an authority, so we need to respect them. So who else is making this? All of our Facebook wall, it's full of bad words to the people that are authorities. We cannot make this. We are reading the Torah every year, and we are not practicing these laws. What can we do when we are asked? When Ali asks, we will make an example. Nabucodonosor, I'm looking that you are saving the Torah, and in your Torah says that everyone who curses father or mother has to die. But the last time I saw that your son disrespect you, he said that you were too old and that you didn't know anything. So in the Torah, how do you need to deal with this? This was before, not right now. Why when we have people who we love, we get cloud of view and we don't do anything. We get fools. And really wisdom people, the prominent people of our age, when the theme is Israel, they become too full. So this is what the writer says. Why? Because it seems like you have a cloud of view in the intelligence. So it's the same way when we love some people, we lost the judge. So our Torah says that when a judge makes a judgment, we don't need to make the balance to the poor or the rich guy. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a really full guy. We need to make justice. Justice we have to follow, but we are too emotional. So this clouds our view. Let's see. How can we look at the marriage? How is the marriage? What is really marriage? What is reality? The reality we live in marriage. Likewise, husbands live with understanding, showing honor to the wife as a more fragile vessel and as two co-heirs of the grace of life, so that your prayers are not hindered. Do we live this reality or not? Do we treat our wives as if we were the same or not? Am I caring about their thoughts, our sentiments, or their pain or not? How can we do it? How do we treat our wife? As the right way or the left way? Can you imagine? Likewise, husbands live with understanding, showing honor to the wife as more fragile vessel and as two co-heirs of the grace of life, so that your prayers are not hindered. If I have a wife, this has value. He who finds a woman finds good, and a benevolence has obtained from Yeshúa. Being her is not the same as oppressor. She needs to admire her husband. Do we live this reality? Do we already believe that she is really different from me? Do we think that she thinks different from me? How do we treat our wife? And vice versa. How the wife treats the husband? If she a bad woman, if she in some pain, or she helps him with all the things. That's how we can look at our reality versus a reality that is from the Torah. So now we don't give our wallet to our wife. So we already keep on counting the wallet and the money with our wife, or we give everything to her. Don't worry, I will take the pass if it doesn't show. Why? Because she is me. We are the same. She is not looking at the badness of me. We are not sleeping with the enemy, as the movie. If we already believe that she is me and I'm her, this is a hit of power. This means that our reality is really different. How can we live in peace? How can we reproduce the peace of the eternal? We cannot do it. We are living in a utopia, in a religion. We are slaves of an inclination to the badness. We are becoming in a religious people. Proverbs. He who finds a woman finds good and a benevolence that has obtained from you. The Eternal loves me. And making public a song that she is an instrument that the Eternal used to take me to his feet. And I keep on saying, when we were not married, when we were married, and 15 years later, I keep on feeling the same. It's the same, the most valuable thing in the world. But the treatment, it's reflecting all the truth that I'm saying. I'm not living in a lie. When something is against, it's not a contradiction. It's like paradox. Something nature. All the acts and the words are reflecting. We need to be the head of the house. We don't need to be an oppressor. It's a really big difference. Can you imagine that everything that I have said, I've said it really a lot, and all the words are mistakenly saying. We need to say that the man needs to wear the clothes that her wife likes. So at the end, who is the head of the house? Because I need to wear the clothes that she likes. So the wife needs to admire their husband. She needs that when everyone is walking, she will be like, wow. And she needs to tell his husband, walk away please, walk again, come through. As men, we have followed really down, really down, that not even the pet admire us, really. So if we need to gain this image again, if we said our wives, this is feeling good, and if she says no, I don't like that work clothes, we need to take our wives, and she needs to be with the open mouth and really admire us. When I look into her eyes, I get used to it. Why? Because we have this necessity with our wives, right? We don't need to be like really bad dressed. That's why there are some husbands who their wives feel that they have another son. They need to tell them, please clean up, wash up, please don't take these pants again. Can you say if it's true? Their wives, they think that they have another son. That's why we are saying that the husband needs to do this. He needs to get dressed to impress her wife. So all of this, it's getting contradicted because we don't have clear concept. In our relationships, in interpersonal relationships, we have a lot of levels. We will be the center, and we have a lot of relationships and vertical. We have relationships that are below us, upstairs, and in the same way. Can you look at it? We have a circle that is pink. So it's this. For us as men, it's really different to treat other men or to treat other women. And it's different if we treat some men who are already married or some people who are not married. The relationship would be different. One of the problems we have, for example, it's living in a generation. We have a generation who is below and another one who is up us. I'm coming to our generation that is a little bit old, so we have another one who are old. I was telling to a people that was some young people that had 40 years old. Need to tell him to behave. Our children needs to see in us a grow up man. They don't need to see a friend. No. Why? Because our young people needs to look an adult. They don't need to look for children with 40 years old. I don't know if I'm explaining this. We need to get in our... We are the adults in here. They need to respect and admire us. I don't have any problem with my white hair. If I'm old, I feel weird with my white hair, but our children needs to respect us. I don't need them to treat me more personal as a friend. I need to treat me with respect. We have this problem that the young people with 40 years old are feeling that they are still young, and they are not young. They are adults. They need to be this generation who inspires respect to the other generations. We need to respect the people who are up us. For example, you can say Mrs. Juanita, Mrs. Carlos, because they have 10 years old more than us. 15 years old, that, so we have to have respect. We need to stand up to the white hair, because everyone who is major than me represents something, and all of this that was before anything exists, even before I become to this world. So that's why the respect to the people, to the grown-up people. I like the white hair in my with my beard, so this helps all the people to not look at me and say that I'm too young. So they look at me like a really young people. It's really difficult for me to follow up someone who is more young than me. So I get it. I get that. That's why I need to make an appearance that I'm a little bit more old. So that's why us have to understand in which generation we are and in which one we are living. The respect are, can only be given by those who recognize their position. Knowing each other's role in relation to the other is vital to create healthy communication bridge. Even if we are in a everyone who is low age than me, that's why we need to respect them too. An adult today doesn't respect the value of that word that young people said. We don't pay attention to their words. The children who had 13 years old were fools, so that's why we don't pay attention to their words. In our generation, we used to do that. In this community, it happens. Do you remember that sometimes we put the young people to serve the old people to cultivate this respect? There was one day there was a lot of cake, and the people doesn't give them today because they thought that they were lying to the people and they wanted to keep the cake to themselves. So they were telling to me. So that's why I needed to talk to the teenager, and I didn't understand why they didn't believe them, but I needed to talk with them alone, and I needed to tell to them they were not the same as you. They think you are lying, but you're not. We keep on contradict the words of a teenager. We need to respect the same people who are at the same level with us, the ones who are upstairs of us and the ones who are lower us. We need to know any role of everyone. If I'm a teacher and I'm talking to a student, he needs to know that he's talking to a teacher and I'm talking to my student. Father to our lower son. If we are located, we can make a bridge of communication. I cannot be at the same level as a teenager who treats me like really personal. He needs to see that we are not the same. As children are my responsibility, yes or no? But at some age. The problem that we have a lot of parents is that we are keep on believing that our sons of 40 years old are still ours. We keep on telling them, what are you doing? What are you going? So we need to let them make their mistakes. We have a lot of young people that are 23 years old and they already work and they are independent. So we don't need to keep on telling them, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? They are our responsibility at some age, but they are people too. They need to live their lives, because if we don't let them do it, when the blood of Mashiach, So we make them slaves even if Mashiach has their blood on them. And making their enemy with the eternal. So we need to be considerate with our children, depending the age that they are having, because they are people too, and they have to find their way in this life. That's what I said to my big daughter. You don't need to do the things because I said it. You need to do it because you understand. If you need to make some mistakes to value my lessons, so you need to suffer. But if you don't understand something, if you don't want to do something, don't do it. I don't want to captivate your life. She needs to make some words to the eternal. If she cannot do it because I didn't let her, she is a daughter of the eternal too. So in the spiritual world, everything is achievements. So for someone to live a spiritual life, he needs to do something that he understands, something that is in their heart to do. If we don't make the opportunity to do it, if I said to her everything that she needs to do, she will not be free. She will be like a pain to the eternal because she will be a slave. We will be like a paro. We need to cultivate and motivate our children. We cannot say everything is like this, and if you don't want to follow up, you need to go out from the house. Everything has their limits, of course, but our children are people that the eternal give to us, and they will make some counts to the eternal. Imagine if we get into Toráh and everything that says, he will say, Chaim, what did you do? I wasn't able to make anything because our rabbi was my father. So Yehuda was your enslaver, was Paro. He didn't let you to treat your life. Imagine that I convert into this for the love of God. No. So that's why we cannot have healthy relationships. For example, in the class of the young people, we were talking about something. I think it was that David who took the talking to another level. We were talking about something. So it was very simple. I put a line. In here you're with Mashiach, and in here you're without Mashiach. So what is to be with Mashiach? They start telling me life, healthiness, and what about being without Mashiach? I think you said death and in consciousness. So I remember when he said that, I said, wow. So I start making the list. Who can be in here? Bad people? If he doesn't have the Mashiach, it will be like death alive. It's in consciousness, it's an ignorant people, the drug dealer, because he doesn't have Mashiach. A rabbi who is a Jew. So my father that I love so much, that he wasn't in the Toráh, and my uncle, my cousin, everyone who doesn't have Mashiach is dead, but he hasn't been announced to him. He's a slave. These are the values that teach us the Toráh. How can I pretend to live with the Toráh if everything is a crisis? Great songs. So we need to be free. So if we talk to other people, we can know if we are talking to a slave or not. It's very simple, but you are not getting me. Father, you are talking to a slave. How How can you try me to understand? Because we are not located. We are living in this gray zone in which we are any children of God. We cannot identify and locate it. So we cannot make any bridge that is with health communication. So now we are going to get into this thing. I want all your attention because I will put a video of an experiment that was realized in the 80s or 60s, and from there it's born. Doesn't born, but what we know today as quantum mechanics. All the principles that when you get into practice spiritually, we are going to understand why we cannot live in peace with our neighbor. Okay? Look at it.
Hoy quiero que sientas algo especial. Quiero que sientas el asombro, la confusión, la incredulidad de que vieron los físicos de explorar cómo se comportan los pequeños elementos que nos forman. Quiero que veas lo extraordinario que es nuestro universo. Quiero que descubras el mundo cuántico. Que conste que el siguiente montaje no es invención mía. La leí en El Enigma Cuántico. No comparto las opiniones expresadas en este libro, pero reconozco que sus explicaciones son estupendas. Sin más dilación, aquí va el experimento de la doble rendija como nunca antes lo has visto. Nuestro protagonista es un átomo. Sí, no lo puedes ver, es que es muy pequeño. Para eso tenemos este detector. Lo activamos y... ¡ajá! Luz verde. Eso quiere decir que el átomo está ahí. Bien, vamos a jugar con él. Pero antes, dejadme que os enseñe el campo de pruebas. Por orden. Esta es la máquina del azar. Su tarea simplemente es, cuando demos la orden, la de extraer un átomo y colocarlo al azar dentro de una de estas dos cajas, sin trucos. Las cajas son cajas ordinarias. Tienen dos aberturas, una por arriba, que nos permite meter el detector para saber si el átomo está ahí o no, y una lateral, que está enfrentada a una pantalla detectora. Y es que el átomo dentro de la caja no para de moverse, de chocar contra las paredes. Si abrimos la segunda abertura, el átomo acabará saliendo disparado y chocará contra alguna parte de la pantalla. En ese lugar aparecerá una marca, así sabremos dónde impactó el agitado átomo. Por supuesto, esta es una caricatura del experimento real. Se ha quitado el bla 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 técnico y se ha reducido el montaje a lo conceptual para que se entienda mejor. Por ejemplo, en vez de una pared con dos rendijas, ahora tenemos dos cajas. El caso es que las conclusiones que vamos a sacar aquí, y creedme en esto, son las mismas que las del experimento real. Este se realiza y se sigue realizando en laboratorios de todo el mundo con resultados iguales, dejándonos a los físicos locos. Espero dejarte así a ti también cuando alcancemos el experimento número 3. Pero vayamos por orden. Experimento número 1. Vamos a comprobar lo que ya sabemos. Activamos la máquina y el átomo es colocado aleatoriamente en una de las dos cajas. No sabemos en cuál. Abramos una de ellas, la azul, por ejemplo. Abrimos por arriba, ponemos el detector y... ¡ah! Luz verde. El átomo estaba en la caja azul. Aún así, abramos la roja a ver qué pasa. Vale, no pita, no hay nada en la caja. Átomo en la azul, roja vacía. Repitamos el proceso. Activamos la máquina y tenemos un nuevo átomo colocado al azar. Probamos suerte con la azul y... vaya, no dice nada el detector. Parece que está vacía. Abramos la roja entonces. Ajá, luz verde. Aquí estaba el átomo. Azul vacía, átomo en la roja. Supongo que te imaginas qué pasa si repetimos esto una y otra vez. Acabaremos con una lista en la que más o menos el 50% de los átomos estaban en la caja roja y el otro 50% en la caja azul. La máquina del azar hace bien su trabajo. Y, por supuesto, cuando el átomo estaba en una caja, la otra siempre estaba vacía, porque un átomo no puede estar en las dos cajas a la vez. No. Experimento número 2. Juguemos con la pantalla. Activamos la máquina y el átomo se distribuye en una de las dos cajas. Esta vez vamos a abrir la abertura lateral de una de las cajas, por ejemplo la roja, y ver qué pasa. De repente, una marca aparece en la pantalla. Abrimos la caja azul y... nada ocurre. Ok, repitamos. Activamos la máquina y esta vez abrimos la caja azul. No pasa nada en la pantalla. Abrimos la roja y... una marca aparece. Si continuamos haciendo esto, la pantalla se nos llena de puntos. Estos están colocados más o menos al azar, excepto por dos grandes concentraciones justo enfrente de las cajas, lo que es muy normal. Es mucho más probable que el átomo salga de la caja de manera recta en vez de hacerlo con bastante inclinación. En cuanto a cuál apertura de caja ha producido una marca, tenemos resultados iguales a los de antes. Más o menos el 50% de las veces ha sido la caja roja y el otro 50% la azul. Lo que ha pasado aquí parece evidente. Cuando hemos abierto la caja donde estaba el átomo, este ha salido pitando y se ha chocado contra la pantalla. Cuando hemos abierto la caja vacía, no ha pasado nada. A veces tocaba en la roja, a veces tocaba en la azul. Porque, claro, el átomo no puede salir de las dos cajas. No. Experimento número 3. Por último, vamos a abrir las aberturas de las dos cajas a la vez, al mismo tiempo. Cargamos el átomo y marca en la pantalla. Repetimos, activamos la máquina, abrimos las dos cajas a la vez y otra marca en la pantalla. En este punto habré acabado con tu paciencia. Piensas que lo que está pasando es obvio, que el átomo está saliendo disparado de una de las dos cajas, ahora ya sabremos cuál, y choca contra la pantalla. De modo que si lo hacemos muchas veces, obtendremos lo mismo que en el experimento número 2. Y es aquí donde el mundo cuántico nos pega un bofetón. Esto no ocurre. Si repetimos la apertura simultánea de las dos cajas, nos encontramos este curioso patrón. Las preguntas surgen solas. ¿Por qué los átomos, en vez de chocar justo enfrente de las cajas, deciden concentrarse en estas zonas? Parece absurdo. Supongo que los experimentales sospecharon que esto era causa de algo externo al laboratorio. Por ejemplo, que en la habitación de al lado otros físicos estuvieran jugando con campos magnéticos que estuvieran afectando a los átomos. Así que les dijeron amablemente que se estuvieran quietos y, para asegurarse, decidieron probar a alejar las cajas. Y es que si cambias algo de tu experimento y los resultados no reaccionan, es una señal muy fuerte de que hay una influencia externa provocando esos resultados. Pero no es el caso. Al separar las cajas y repetir el experimento, el patrón volvió a aparecer, pero con las concentraciones también más separadas. Juntaron las cajas y el patrón también se juntó. Este parece un detalle muy tonto, pero lo cierto es que nos da a entender algo bastante siniestro, que es como si el átomo estuviera en las dos cajas a la vez. No que haya dos átomos, no que esté partido por la mitad. El mismo átomo en los dos sitios. Seguid mi razonamiento. Si el átomo está en una de las cajas, cuando salga disparado tiene que ir con mucha probabilidad a una de estas zonas. Pero estos lugares de la pantalla dependen, como acabamos de ver, de la distancia entre las cajas. Y este es el gran problema. Si el átomo sale de una caja, no puede llevar ninguna información de la otra caja. No puede verse afectado por ella, porque es una caja que está vacía, que no interviene de ninguna manera en esta tirada. Y sin embargo, la información llega a la pantalla. Luego, la única manera de que la separación entre cajas influya en el patrón es que ninguna caja esté vacía y el átomo se encuentre en las dos cajas a la vez. Y sí, es cierto que en el experimento número 2 las concentraciones también se separan si mueves las cajas. La diferencia es que puedes saber muy bien a qué caja pertenece cada disparo. Si quitas una caja y repites el experimento, obtienes una de esas dos concentraciones. Este patrón es claramente la suma de dos patrones. Pero esto no ocurre en el experimento número 3. Tú aquí no puedes diferenciar de qué caja ha salido cada disparo. Y mucho menos, la suma de los patrones de cada caja sola no coincide con el patrón de abrir las dos cajas a la vez. Es decir, que ambas cajas están actuando combinadas para fabricar el patrón. Y la única manera de que sus propiedades conjuntas se propaguen hasta la pantalla es que el átomo tenga también esa información, estando de igual manera en ambas cajas. En resumen, haciendo los experimentos 1 y 2, parece claro que el átomo está en solo una caja. Pero si hago el 3, no me queda otra salida que aceptar que está en las dos. ¿No es esto contradictorio? Salgamos de dudas. Volvamos a hacer el experimento número 3, pero poniendo dos detectores al lado de las aberturas. Así sabemos si el átomo sale de una caja o de las dos. Activamos la máquina y empezamos. Al principio parece que la idea del átomo en ambas cajas no era muy buena. A cada disparo, solo uno de los detectores se enciende. El átomo sale solo de una caja. Pero cuando parece que el mundo recobra el sentido, miramos a la pantalla y ¡pam! No está el patrón de antes. Quitamos los detectores, repetimos el experimento y volvemos a obtener el patrón del experimento 3. Los colocamos, repetimos el experimento y obtenemos el patrón del experimento 2. Insisto, cuando usamos los detectores, la única prueba que tenemos de que el átomo está en ambas cajas desaparece. Y en vez de eso sale un patrón que nos indica que está en una. ¿Veis lo que está pasando aquí? Solo cuando no sabemos dónde está el átomo, como en el experimento 3 sin detectores, es cuando deducimos que el átomo está en las dos cajas. Es como si el hecho de medir en qué caja está el átomo, bien metiendo un detector por arriba o por el lateral, o jugando a abrir una caja primero y luego la otra, fuera lo que provocara que el átomo estuviera solo en una caja. Esto es muy serio. Créeme cuando os digo que nuestros antiguos se partieron la cabeza intentando comprender qué estaba haciendo el átomo, intentando encajar sus ideas clásicas en los resultados de un experimento que se reía de ellos. Y la verdad es que se sigue riendo de nosotros, pues algunos de sus aspectos aún se siguen discutiendo. Por ejemplo, ¿cómo es que el átomo parece estar en las dos cajas? ¿Hay que tomarse esto literalmente? ¿Y qué tenemos que ver los observadores en todo esto? ¿Qué significa exactamente medir? Sean cuales sean las respuestas, los físicos se dieron cuenta que había que reinventarse, que había que crear una teoría radicalmente distinta con la que poder manejarse en este extraño mundo. Estoy hablando de la mecánica cuántica. Hablaremos sobre ella en los próximos vídeos. Y recuerda, si quieres más ciencia, solo tienes que suscribirte. Y gracias por verme.
Well, so the conclusion for this video is that the atom is in the same box, in the two boxes, something that seems impossible. But when you have an observant, the atom is defined for one of the boxes. So the conclusion that has the mechanic quantic is that everything that is observed interferes in the action of the the reality that the observant can see. He himself is interfering in the reality that he is looking at, because if he wasn't looking, the atom will be in two boxes. So when you put an observant, it will be in one box. So this is, we are making the thing that we are seeing. So this is the conclusion that they took. Can you imagine? So everything, for example, the parallel universe, that the two boxes are two universes, but I can choose in which universe to live. The other one is still existing, but because I decided to live in this one, it's meant that, for example, it's one Yehuda in here, and there's another one that is Yehuda too. The interesting thing about this, there are another details. So later we have the explanation for what it's talking about. And the detail, they don't use the term of observant or measurement.
Eso quiere decir, por ejemplo, agarraron un fotón, para todo esto me capacité con Efraín Soto.
So for this I get instructed by frames. We took a particle that is from the light that can be manifest. So as photons or a particle. If the observant wants to look at it as a particle, it will manifest as a particle. If the measurement wants to look at it as a wave, it will be a wave. So it says that as an observant will happen something. We are talking about that the conscience and the judgment of the observant people will determine how the reality will be manifest. I don't know if I'm explaining myself. Imagine that. Another important thing, the spin thing. The spin says that everything that is in the space of the the atom, because not everything is perfect. They were explaining to me that there's a space that two electrons are keeping. These two electrons are called spin because they are spinning in contraction waves. They are synchronized as if there were something that is uniting them, and it's changing all the time. The scientific people took these parts and they separate themselves 2 miles, and they were still coordinated. So what keeps the communication between them? That we can divide themselves into galaxies and they keep on functioning the same way. So it's meant that there's something that it's uniting something. So with the time, 0 of delay. As the tales said of our grandmas, everyone sees what everyone wants to see, because our conscience will determine to look what we want to look. So this is a reality. That's why the same event that it's looked by 2 people will have 2 stories, and this will be different, and it will seem like one of them is lying, as if there were conflict in the marriage. It always has to be a liar, because the observant in some way makes that the reality will be the way he wants to be. I didn't understand too well, but they make something, and I remember that there was something determined, and it was that it seems like there was a communication between the consciousness from the one that is observant and the atom or the electron that is over the time. So it's meaning that if we anticipate or I get delay in our consciousness, this will affect our atom or our electron. It seems like they get into the camp that was the mechanic quantic. So for you to look that it's not a lie, the science says this. For all the ones who are loyal to the science, so what it has to do with us. Remember how the Parasha began as a reality that the Eternal created? As in the Big Eden, you have the tree of life. The roots are in there, so we descend to another reality. What was impacting when I look at it, I already saw this in another time, but when I saw it again, I remember what the Kabbalah says. That it's translated when the Eternal created the man, he was a live man, but it's translated as a parlant man. The Kabbalah explains that the language is the result of a perception. So it says that when the Eternal created the man, he made a man who can perceive and manifest the perception in the world that the Eternal has put him in. The power of perception of the man in the creation is active and powerful, as you can see it, and it's manifested in the science. From now, 6 million years after, science is looking at it. The perception of time as it's starting the 6th day. There's a perception of the time. In the Hebrew calendar, it starts to measure in there, because there was no one who can measure the time. Can you say how was the 24 hours the first time? There were not any skies, there were not any stars, but when the man was created, it was generated a perception. So you can say that the atom was in the 2 boxes. When the Eternal created the man, it was in 1 box, because you already have a receptor and there was an observer. There was someone who can perceive the reality in some way. But now, this man keeps on having the capacity of perception and manifesting of perception in the inferior world. So that's why he creates different realities. That's why when you talk to a marriage, he has the fault. And you can say, no, that's a lie. She has the fault. So there are two different worlds because they perceive something really different and they make about this perception something real. And you cannot say that this is bad. At the end, anyone has their own world. Everyone perceives in a different world, so you cannot take them out of this reality. There are two different truths. So, can you say that there's only one reality? Can you remember how can we come back of the lower world? I explained this in the verse Parasha. So it's from Mashiach. Why? Because Mashiach hits is truth. When I have a lot of perceptions in front of me, how can I know? How? Only with the Mashiach, because He is the truth. When I access the superior world, He can know how anyone has a different perception of the same event, and He makes the difference from one perception to the reality. That's why you can come to a marriage and it says that you have the fault, and if he changes. Some people that it's logic, that has their own world and perception, just someone who already has the truth can notice that the other people are convinced of their own world, and this is the truth about her. So this is respectful. The two truths are respectful. Just someone who is more of this perception can conceive the real perception. He has access to the reality. The one, just someone who is with the eternal can know the real truth. Everything that happens, everything bad that happens to him, it's meant that he is asleep. But what is the reality? I was really surprised that I want to read when I'm 15. That is from the Mashiach. Just let me search for it. I'm the real. And my father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he takes away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and in me, I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine, no more can you expect you abide in me. Look what it says. No, because you are with us perception. You cannot do it because you already make a judgment. The only one who can free us is the Mashiach. So he keeps saying, I am the abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear the fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine, no more can you except you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He had abided in me, and I am in him. The same branches forth more fruit, for without me you cannot do anything, nothing. We are useless without Him.
En esta lucha
In this fighting,
cuántica,
a quantic fighting, we are
me
useless.
preguntaba mi hija, ¿cómo
My
hacemos
daughter asked me,
para estar
how can we do to be with
aceptas
Him?
que no podemos?
We need to accept that we cannot do it.
Yo creo que yo puedo.
If I believe I can do it, because
Entonces el Mashiach se hace un lado. Él es claro en decir
He's really clear about
al
that.
no ser que alguien permanezca en mí, es echado fuera como el pámpano sin fruto, que se seca y lo recogen y lo
The
echan
bread
al
is that
infierno.
it's
Si
really dry.
permanecéis en mí y mis palabras
If you keep
permanecen en
with
vosotros,
me and my
pedid lo
words
que queráis, y os
keep
dará.
on you, you can ask for everything and it will
En
be
esto es
given.
glorificado mi Padre,
In
en que
everything
llevéis
it's
mucho
glorify
fruto.
my Father,
Y seáis así
that you
mis
keep on taking a lot of
Como el
fruit.
Padre me amó,
As
también
the
yo
Father
los amé.
loved me, I love them
Permaneced en
too.
mi amor.
You need to
Si
keep on
guardáis
my
mis
love.
mandamientos, permaneceréis en mi amor, como yo he guardado los mandamientos de mi Padre. Y
As the Father
permanezco
had
en
loved me, so I have
Estas
loved
cosas
you.
os he
Continue
hablado,
you in my love.
para que
As
mi
you
gozo
keep
esté en
my
vosotros,
commandments,
y vuestro
you shall
gozo sea
abide in my
pleno.
love. Even if I have kept my Father's commandments and I abide in His love.
Este es mi
These
mandamiento,
things
que los améis
have I
unos a otros,
spoken
así
unto you,
como
that my
os
joy
amé.
might remain in you,
Nadie tiene
and that your
mayor
joy
amor
might
que
be
este,
full. This is my
que
commandment,
uno
that you
ponga
love
su vida
one
por
another
sus
as I
amigos.
have loved you.
Vosotros
Greater
son
love
mis
hath no
amigos,
man
si
than this,
hacéis lo
than
que
a
yo
man
os
lay
mando.
down his life for his friends. You are my friends
Él
if you
no
do
es codependiente.
whatsoever I
Él
command
no
you.
tiene
Henceforth
ninguna
I call you
ligadura
not to
emocional
servants,
conmigo, ni
for the
con
servant
ningún ser
knoweth
humano.
not what his Lord doeth,
No
but I
existe
have
caso.
called your friends. For all the things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you. This doesn't exist. He's not codependent. He's not an emotional slave.
Sigue diciendo,
So
ya no
he keeps
os
saying,
llamo siervos, porque
you
el
have not
siervo
chosen
no
me, but I
sabe
have chosen.
qué hace su señor.
Henceforth I call you not servants, but the servants knoweth not what his Lord doeth. But I have called you friends, for all the things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you. You have. There's nothing that is.
No me elegisteis vosotros
You
a
not
mí,
chose me.
sino que yo os elegí y os puse
I
para que
chose you
vayáis y
and
llevéis
ordained
fruto,
you
y
that you
vuestro
should go
fruto
and bring forth fruit,
permanezca,
and that your
para
fruit shall
que
remain.
todo lo que
Whatsoever
pidáis al
you
Padre
shall
en mi
ask
nombre,
of the Father in my name,
os
he
lo
may
dé.
give it to you.
Esto os mando, que os améis.
These things I command you, that you love one another.
Todo lo que pida el
If
Padre, Él lo da. Si
everything that the Father asks,
sigo su amor,
He will give it to you. If we keep on the commandments,
no hay limita.
and there are no limits.
Se desnudó, se
Can
reveló,
you imagine that the
manifestó
Mashiach
todo.
revealed
Ya soy
himself?
siervo, porque el siervo es siervo.
Because the servant is servant. When he gets a cold, he has domain, but he opened himself, and all that his Father teach us, he gave it to us. So where is the limit? There are no limits.
Pero ¿cuál es el
So
mandamiento
what
que
is
él
the
también
commandment that
repite
he repeated 2 times? That we need to love one another. This is the main problem, that we don't know what is love. We already doesn't know that our love damage people. We are in conflict and we are limited with the people we love. This cannot be like this because we live in an environment of codependency.
es la codependencia.
What is the codependency? Do you remember that song that says that I cannot live without you? In Colombia, this is the music too. So all the water falls into the cloth.
Todas las canciones románticas que ustedes pongan,
This helps to iron. All the songs that you put into the radio or music
la codependencia
generates codependency. It's a physiological condition in which someone manifests an excessive and often inappropriate concern for someone else's difficulties or for a group of people. It's a psychological condition. So you are here suffering for one another. So you need to understand this. how it's the one who was born to be a fool. I will suffer because he's a fool. I need to become as a horse. I cannot do it. We cannot change this reality. We are codependents, suffering for the other. We cannot be happy. This is called codependency. We change the love, the romanticism. If I don't look at my wife for 1 week and we get communicated, oh, hi, how are you? I'm here working, and if she feels I don't love her, why? Because she was hoping, oh, here I am, oh, I'm a little sad. I felt really sad. With this, she feels I love her. This is codependency, romanticism. Distort everything. If I'm suffering because I don't look at her, she thinks that I don't love her. She wants to look at me and think that I'm dying. And when I get into the trouble, she wants to look at me that I'm thin. Because I wasn't able to eat, because I was really sad about you. Everything is distorted. And the music, it's really bad. The devil. Because just in a free environment you can talk about love, about justice, of delivering respect. The delivery in a state of freedom towards only can be given towards another free. Everything that she feels, for me, it's just important what she feels. We grow up together in a freedom. We get really strong, but this can only happen when we have freedom. Two slaves cannot love each other. This is not love. So, when your partner tells you in a week that you are not looking at each other, someone that says, I'm okay, that's the good thing, because it will be a free man. I like it because you will have a safe love. So everything is normal. You need to be okay, so you don't need to feel bad. You don't need to feel that he doesn't need you. Oh, we're really good without you. Why? Because this is a safe attachment. This means that as a husband, I'm not creating codependent people who cannot live without me. This can only happen if the people is free, just in a state of free towards. Only a free person can create an environment of freedom around him, maintaining healthy relationships. It is not about giving us a manual of how a free person lives and relates to others. It is about being free. The curious thing that I saw in the asking questions of Monday, so how can I do it? Do I give the permission or not? So he came in the main room as if you were paying or cooking recipes. Someone who doesn't love, that he wants to be told how to act. This cannot happen. The intention of this is that we need to recognize that we haven't taken the freedom of liberty emotionally and psychologically, because we need to be free for nature. This will not permit our beloved people generate codependency. Never. We want the people to be free, the people that we love to be free and grow up, to give fruit. Even if they get married in Czechoslovakia or another country around the world, but she will be free. she will be happy. So Baruch Hashem. But you don't need to say, oh no, I will not look at you. This is illness. This is not love. This is codependency. The solution to live happy and liberty with a pure love, an honest love. This will only happen if we are free. And the nature, because we are perceptors of the liberty and we have the power to manifest to everyone around us in an automatic way, without a recipe. If someone tells you, Father, can I go to... Oh, you need to look at the Shulchan Aruch and everything. How old are you? Oh, okay, you are a man or a woman? Oh. So, no, it's like a cat asking for direction to a dog to tell him how can it needs to act. The cat will keep on acting as a cat. This is what the Mashiach is saying. The deliverer of a freedom state can only be given towards another free, a delivery. So everyone is saying, no, you are suffering for the slavery or another. Who keeps on slavery to the another? Who is the only one who can free us? The Mashiach, the Eternal, our liberty, our freedom. I'm the only one who can free you, and the glory I will not share it with anyone. If I have an uncle and a father or a cousin, who keeps him in this state? The Eternal. The Eternal free me and wants to keep him in this state. I will have misericordia of anyone who I want to keep it. I cannot change this. I suffer. And at the same time, I said that I love the Eternal and His will. This is not coherent. When I'm talking to a slave, I know that I'm talking to a slave. Hi, your chains are really beautiful. I'm really happy that you are happy and that you are in this state, right? Oh, I'm really sorry. Is that my husband doesn't love me? But you told him yes, right? You told him that you love him, right? Oh, I'm really happy that you are in this state. You choose this path. So it's really wonderful that the one you love, that you said that you love him, and he said yes. It's a really beautiful thing. I'm glad for you. But he's a really bad people and he hits me a lot. Well, you haven't gone right. You haven't gone right away. So this is wonderful. You want to be in the place. I will not be the way that I said, you need to go out. Imagine that. It's like if I'm telling her what to do. I will be a slave with you. I'm really bored about freedom. Someone needs to know what kind of people he's talking about. To be emotionally free. For the people who are outside, someone will say that we are bad. But what can I do? I look at a dog that is in the street and I will not make arrangement for a dog that is in the street. It's a dog, it's an animal. Can you look at it the writer or in the Torah? I will make the case as Joseph. He doesn't give food to the people for free. He sells the food. So you can say Joseph has no mercy, but all the people knows who we are talking about. So to a slave, everything that you do, even if you take out all the pain and everything, so even if you get the chains out from the slave, he will be happy and he will say, thank you for taking me the chains. But he will take him back. He was born to be a slave, so you need to leave them there. He is happy in there. Why you need to suffer for a slave? From the Eternal has no mercy with this slave. You need to be with him. You need to be there for them. But you will not be attached to this soul that is enslaved. You need to be with him. Just a free person can create an environment that is free. With this I will end. It's not about giving us a manual of how a free person lives and relates to others. It's about being free. Everyone who is around us will feel loved. This will make them feel really loved and they will grow up spiritually. But individually, they need to find this reality without codependency, psychology, and emotionally. Because if not, we are part of the problem and not the solution. So we need to reflect, make a reflection about this, because we cannot talk about the Mashiach who gave us liberty if you are not free. It's about living this freedom. That's why we value it, because we are looking the difference about a slave and a free person. We need to be out of this. We need to get free. If there's a person who is bad or is a drug addict, we need to strip away all these things. The man could have changed. Look, Father, the Father is telling me to go out. Oh no, I cannot go out about anymore. You need to get away. We need to warn our children. Even if they are cousins, if they are family, we need to tell them when the people is bad. So now you can see when they are slaves. We keep on being slaves because we felt, as our father said, we need to eat the onions, as the Israeli people said. They keep on the past with this codependency. So it's like how it's called right now, the Stockholm syndrome. Everyone who oppresses. Stockholm syndrome. I asked Ahasia, this relationship that you have, can you know that it's making you feel with pain? It will affect you physically. So you cannot avoid this. This is a thing that you cannot go away. So now we are free. They can fight. When they want to be free, they can tell me, because about freedom I can talk about. I can help them to be free. But when they choose to be free, when they choose to get out of this system, from this experiment, as I told you, if you don't look yourself as a free person, you will never be free. Now you can know how it affects the mind. Now the medicine, it's detecting how the thoughts affects the body, and to be ill or to be really like sane person. If you know what, I don't want any problems. I will look at you how you keep on being slaves, because I don't want to get infected with this. I don't want to be a slave. I want to be free. Because everything that I said, they will not understand. We need to know which people we are talking about. We need to be emotionally free. That's what I want from everyone. Do you remember when I told you about saying no? Even if you don't want to, even me. If you don't want to, or if you cannot do it, you need to tell me, oh, I'm sorry, I cannot do it. I'm not available. I'm sorry, we want to be alone right now. Because I'm teaching you to be a free person. I'm teaching you to say no. If you don't want to receive someone in your house, you need to say no with respect. I'm the first one who will respect this. You need to be free and choose. You need to decide what to do with your life.
que ha costado sangre.
That was really difficult to gain.
Y no deje que nadie se
It costs you blood. You don't need to leave anyone to take it out from you.
Oremos.
Let's pray.
Padre eterno, Padre bendito,
Dear Father,
gracias te damos.
thank you for everything.
Ayúdenos, Padre.
We ask you to help us to keep the expression of freedom that you have given us
Hacia nuestra mente.
also to our mind.
Tenemos.
We ask you to give you intellectually to our emotions this freedom.
Queremos que
We want to grow up with freedom in this life that you haven't given us with the Mashiach.
pensemos
We want to never think that we can do anything with ourselves, that everything comes from you,
en Mashiach.
with the Mashiach,
Y Él se
that everything will reproduces with us.
Y así como ahora estamos conscientes
As we are conscious right now that how our judgment make us and affect us in our reality, that
para bien,
now we want to affect our reality in a good way and in this creation. So we will convert in a collaborator of you. We want to make the objective that you want to make.
ten misericordia de
Have mercy of us.
y conforme a nuestras
And
necesidades,
with an honest heart,
de las cadenas
I want you to hit the chains of slavery that we have, that are emotionally and physically.
te lo rogamos porque
We ask you, God, please to do this with us.
nuestra vida
We want to make our testimony to be really good, that you are our Elohim. That Mashiach was the one who was
En aquel día en Jerusalén celebraremos todo Israel, que todo el mundo escuche nuestra voz, no estamos muertos y cantamos Efraín, 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 estamos listos para recibir al rey. La tribu de Judá y la tribu de Efraín, un solo pueblo y un solo Elohim. El mundo entero al fin despertará, verán la luz desde Jerusalén. Efraín, 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 ya lo mató. Efraín, estamos listos para recibir.